Tottenham Hotspur have sacked Nuno Espirito Santo and have brought in Antonio Conte. That's a big move. Hello, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Paris. We interrupt this vacation to bring you my opinion on all of this. Does this squad fit Antonio Conte's style? Is this doomed from the start? Just some general thoughts here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this sort of podcasty vibe to this one before I go out and get a kebab. Adrian from the future here just to say I did indeed get the kebab and it was delicious. So after sacking Nuno Espirito Santo after a very poor start to life at Tottenham, 10th in the table, just 15 points in that stretch, he managed 17 competitive matches and won just 9 of them and suffered losses against United, West Ham, Vitesse, Arsenal, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and Paços de Ferreira. Tottenham conceded an average of 1.6 goals per game in the Premier League, kept 3 clean sheets, but scored just 9 goals in that 10-match run that Nuno had. That is quite simply not good enough. And it really felt like a continuation of his second season at Wolves in the Premier League, that is, where they struggled in a similar manner. Asterisk next to that being the fact that they lost their stalwart Raul Jimenez from their attack, but the attack seemed to be a massive struggle for him. And when your defense is also leaking goals, that can only lead to one conclusion. So Antonio Conte comes in, a guy who has won league titles everywhere he has gone since Juventus. Some have called him the closest thing to guaranteed success these days, which is true when you look at his club record. He started the Juve domination in Serie A, winning them their first title since 2003, back in the 2011-12 season. After his Italian national team holiday, he went to Chelsea and won the league in his first season, won the FA Cup in his second, less impressive season as he fought with the board. I mean, he really fought with them. He took them to court, and he won there too. The man cannot be stopped. And of course, we saw him win the Serie A with Inter, thus bringing to an end the Juve dominance in Italy. Now, of course, he ended his tenure with Inter 1 year earlier than expected because of a dispute between himself and the board. You'll hear about that more, I'm sure. In the end, they ended on mutual terms, but the reasons he left were believed to be because he was no doubt informed that there would be massive cuts to the budget, massive cuts to the wage bill, sales of players. Now, could he be successful with this Tottenham squad? A club that hasn't won a trophy since 2008. A group of players that looked so strong at moments under Pochettino, has had investment time and time again into the squad, but has continued to fail. Now, as for the squad itself, under the right manager, and I think Conte could be the right manager, a 3-5-2 formation could be effective in the attack and could benefit them defensively as well. I think realistically, Tottenham's investment in the centre-back positions hasn't been great, and you can condemn them for that, for not focusing on that area further. The fact that Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer are relied upon so heavily is just inexcusable at this point, and bringing in Romero only as a reinforcement, as your only reinforcement, that's just simply not good enough. And it will be the area of the pitch that Conte will probably struggle the most with. In the midfield, I think Conte is going to absolutely love Højbjerg. I think Ndombele has the potential to frustrate Conte if he isn't pressing enough, and I think some of the other options leave a lot to be desired, such as Harry Winks, etc. That said, guys like Bryan Gil and Sergio Reguilón could become important players to Conte. We saw how important Hakimi was to Inter's attack, and I can really picture Reguilón being incredibly vital to this Tottenham attack as well. But the attack is where I would expect there to be not many issues, less issues at least in comparison to the issues he will have trying to organize that defense. Son and Kane will make for a great pairing in a 3-5-2, with either Ndombele or Lo Celso behind them, who knows? Maybe Conte can be the one to get Dele Alli back to his best again after so many managers have failed to do so. But that aside, as I spoke about in my video discussing Ollie's last chance and some of the myths surrounding Conte when he was linked to the United job, namely how he leaves clubs in ruin after he leaves them, which isn't true at all, by the way, and how he is tactically inflexible, I mean, who knows? We may see Conte use some of the other formations he has gone with in the past. When he started at Juve, he utilized the 4-3-3, realized they had a left back issue, and thus changed to a back 3. At Chelsea, he didn't switch to the 3-5-2 until the fall, and after that, they stormed the league. At Inter, after the success of Chelsea and the signings that he made that were tailored to the 3-5-2, he went with that, nearly won the league in its first season, and won it in his second season. So he's not as inflexible as some would have you believe. He's just found a formation that works for him, and he's stuck with it, just as many successful managers do. You don't see Klopp, Guardiola, or Tuchel switching constantly from a 4-4-2 to a 3-4-3 to a 5-4-1 to a 4-2-2-2 or something like that. They find a shape that fits their best 11, and then they make little adjustments here and there depending on their opponent, because their best practice is to make sure their opponent has to adjust to them more than them changing their entire style for their opponent. Now, some things that Spurs supporters can absolutely expect is that Conte's players press like madmen. They will run themselves into the ground. Even when things may not be clicking in their own play, they will at least be expected to work and work and work. I just saw a video of when Inter was winning 1-0 against the side after 8 minutes, and he was telling his team to go harder and harder and harder. Also, another thing, and this is a negative for some, all of the young players that were creeping into this Spurs squad recently can kiss their chances goodbye, as Conte loves to lean on veterans. Look at some of his Inter signings that he won the league with. Ashley Young, Alexis Sanchez, Arturo Vidal. Expect more of the same at Tottenham. Overall, it's an interesting signing. On the podcast that I'm part of, the Unsackable podcast linked below, we spoke of how this could go two ways. Either Conte manages to rally this group together and they end up winning some sort of cup competition. I really don't see them winning the league next season. Forget about this season. Also, just forget about it completely. The squad just isn't up to snuff and will require major investment. And this, of course, will be where a point of contention will arise and could be the cause for this marriage to go in the direction of disaster very quickly, whether Conte will get the funds he hopes for or not. I mean, if this goes in the direction that everyone expects, Conte getting frustrated with the club for not backing him financially, then this will just make everyone involved look like clowns. Conte for not getting proper assurances, the club will look like clowns for not backing a manager who they know will demand a lot of them. But that's what makes me feel slightly optimistic here, that we may see some investment given to Conte. He no doubt would have turned down the job in the summer because A, the budget didn't satisfy him, and B, the murkiness of the Harry Kane situation plus lack of budget. Ciao, bye. So yeah, Conte would have had further leverage here. Oh, you want me now? Here are my terms, and now my budget demands are doubled. For him to accept without the assurances, like I said, it would make him look strange, because Conte is a winner. He wins everywhere he goes, and this Tottenham squad isn't capable of winning anything in this current moment. Well, a cup competition is in reach. In fact, Tottenham now favorites for the Conference League? But those are my thoughts on the situation, guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on it all below. And I thank you for joining me here today. I'm Adrian. This is actually a heater, by the way. And have a great day.